Today, we will talk about simple past and past perfect tenses. In this lesson, you will take a closer look of these tenses in much more detailed structure and rules that surround their use. This will enable you to communicate well both in writing and in speaking. These are the most essential learning competencies. Identify past and past perfect tenses. Supply past form of some regular and irregular verbs. Pick out verb phrases in the past perfect tense from given sentences. And construct sentences using past and past perfect tenses. Before we begin discussing what the topic is all about, read first the selection entitled The Zoo by Laurie M. Lynch, and answer the comprehension questions afterwards. Answer the given questions in a complete sentence. Write your answers in any clean piece of paper. Take note, answers only, and later on, we will relate and connect some parts of the sentences to the simple past and past perfect tenses. But first, what is simple past tense? Simple past tense shows that an action started and completed in the past, which means that it has no relevance to the present time at all. Simple past tense basically describes events in the past. It talks about things that happened or existed before the present time. These are the examples of verbs in simple past tense: walked, visited, decided, and looked. So what makes these verbs in simple past tense? Before learning the form and structure of simple past tense, you have to know first how to identify the classifications of verb, which are the regular verbs and irregular verbs. In these examples of sentences, the underlined words are the verbs in the sentence. The underlined words, which are decided, walked, and looked, are examples of regular verbs. Why? Let's find out. The simple past tense for regular verb is created by adding d, ed, or ied at the end of the word. Let's take this table as an example. For verbs adding in e, you just add d at the end of the word. For example, live, lived, love, loved, date, dated, agree, agreed, and care, cared. And for your activity, instructions, write the correct form of the verb found inside the parentheses, and write your answers in any clean piece of paper. Answers only. For the second type of regular verb, which ends in consonant y, change y to I and add ed. For example, try, change y to I and add ed. Tried. Carry, change y to I and add ed. Carried. Dirty, dirtied. Hurry into hurried. And for your activity, write the past forms of verbs below and write your answers in any clean piece of paper. Again, answers only. And for the last type of regular verb, for other verbs just add ed. Let's take these words as examples. Crossed, crossed. Jump, jumped. Lift, lifted. Allow, allowed. And for your activity in this type of regular verb, complete the sentences in simple past tense of the verb inside the parentheses. Write your answers in any clean piece of paper. Answers only. Furthermore, there are examples of time expressions used with the simple past tense. These are yesterday, last night, hour ago, last Saturday, last weekend, and a year ago. Let's take these two sentences as examples. She worked hard last night. In this sentence, last night is a time expression. And the verb here is in its simple past tense. It ends in ed. On the other hand, in the second sentence, the teacher dismissed the class early yesterday. Yesterday is also a time expression. It helps to understand that this sentence happened in the past. This verb, dismissed, is also a simple past tense. It ends in ed. And for your activity, write the simple past tense in the parentheses. Write your answers in any clean piece of paper. Answers only. And next, irregular verbs. In these sentences, the words in bold are examples of irregular verbs, which are sat, won, and told. These verbs are examples of irregular verbs. Let's find out. Irregular verb is a verb in which the past tense is not formed by adding the usual d, ied, or ed ending. The past tense of a regular verb changes the base form of the verb. Use for examples. The verb sing, its past tense is sang. The verb feel, its past tense is felt. And the verb go, which its past tense is went. These verbs changes its spelling when it comes to its simple past tense form of the verb. Let's study the table. The verbs in the base form are examples of irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are verbs that changes the spelling in its simple past tense. For example, the word become, became, begin, began, buy, bought, come, and came. There are also verbs that doesn't change its spelling in forming the simple past tense. This, for example, the word caught. The simple past tense of the word is still caught. So there are two types of irregular verbs. Those words that changes its spelling and those words that doesn't. And for your activity, write the past form of these irregular verbs. Write your answers in any clean piece of paper, answers only. Now that you already learned how to form the simple past tense of regular verbs and irregular verbs, you are now ready to learn the past perfect tense of the verb. What is past perfect tense? Past perfect tense expresses the idea that an action happened before another action in the past. It is formed by combining had with the past participle of the main verb. Let's take these two sentences as examples using the past perfect tense of the verb. John had called Anna when Mary asked her to go out. In this sentence, the past perfect tense is the verb had called. It follows the formula had plus the past participle of the main verb called. Had called is an example of past perfect tense. Second sentence, after Anna had set an appointment, Mary called. Had set is an example of a past perfect tense. It follows the formula had plus the past participle of the main verb set. The past participle of set is still set, had set. Just like in simple past tense, past perfect tense also uses times expressions. These are already, just, yet, after, for, before, since, and until. These two sentences given uses time expressions. Let's analyze each sentence. In the first sentence, when Judah went to Palawan, he had written a letter for his mother. When is an example of time expression used in past perfect tense. The verb here is in its past perfect, in which it follows the formula had and the past participle of the verb. Written is in the past participle. Now, this sentence explains that the verb happened after another past action. He had written the letter after he went to Palawan. Second sentence, James had arrived at their house before his mother cooked dinner. The time expression used here is the word before. Let's take a look at the verb. The verb follows the past perfect tense form. Had plus the past participle. Arrived is in its past participle. This sentence also explains that the mother cooked dinner before James arrived at their house. So this action happens after another past action. That is what past perfect tense is all about. And for your activity, which is entitled Arrange Me, write your answers in any clean piece of paper, answers only. Rearrange the letters to form the action word of each picture. So the first one is already done for you. Arrange the letters of the word which it describes the picture, and write the formed action word, its simple past form, and the past perfect tense of the verb. For your assessment, write only the letter of the correct answer. And in letter C, write SPT if the verb in the sentence is in the simple past tense, and write SPPT if it is in simple past perfect tense. The verb is the words that are in bold in the sentences. Your last activity is entitled Fill Me Up, because you will complete the table by filling in the correct form of the verb. For example, the given base form of the verb, which is invite, the missing form is the simple past tense. What is the simple past tense of the verb invite? Instructions: copy the table with a complete set of the words and write it in any clean piece of paper. Thank you for listening. Till next time on the next lesson. Reminders: you can always go back to this video anytime you want it.